Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Mount and Blade Bannerlord and I'm going to be showing you the top 5 best Sturgian wives that you can marry in the game. So these are the unmarried females that at the beginning of any playthrough, they will be available and you can choose to marry them. So I'll be going off a number of factors to choose them. Basically, are they young enough to have children? Do they have real good starting stats one way or the other in the game? Maybe do they come from a powerful clan, or maybe do they come from a weak clan so they're easier to marry? All of these factors play in and I'll explain it as we go through. That being said, this video is specifically aimed towards if you're playing as a male character looking for a female spouse. That's what will determine this, the ranking in this video. If you're playing as a female character and looking for a male spouse, my best advice is just find the guy with the most stuff and marry him, because, they'll join your clan or you join theirs, but then you are the player so you control it. So if you marry the king of a kingdom and he's got a whole bunch of towns and settlements, now you can control them as long as they were his, to transfer over. So the concept is different in that regard. We're just going to focus on wives because that's, the characters that I play as males looking to marry wives. Anyway, let's just dive on in and start off with number 5 out of all the available Sturgian bachelorettes.
Stop there, stranger. I bid you peace. At least until I find out who you are, anyway.
So at number 5, we've got this lovely lady here, APOLANEA, and she's from the Kuloving clan. So she's definitely a mixed bag, so she's good at some things, bad at others, but I find her to be quite enjoyable as far as a spouse goes, especially as a Sturgian warrior type. So yeah, she is number 5. As far as the clan she's from, like I said, the Kuloving clan, they're a clan tier 5. They don't have a whole lot of money, and Olek is the leader. I find this one to be a particularly easy union to arrange because they're very poor. So if you've got any gold at all, it's pretty easy to arrange this this marriage. So that's one of the reasons I like this one. Outside of that, she's just a pretty solid character in and of herself. For one thing, I think most people agree, pretty good looking as far as presets in the game goes. Not hard to look at. She's also only 21, so definitely plenty young, and still has a whole lot of years ahead of her to play bravely as your wife. She does have quite a few attributes. We can see that some positive ones. We have calculating, daring, and honest. Negative, we've got close-fisted and cruel. So, you don't want a close-fisted and cruel mother, but maybe a close-fisted and cruel wife isn't so bad. On top of that, for her stats, we are pretty solid across the board. So she does start off as a warrior leading her own war party, which is good because it gives us a couple advantages. For one thing, her tactics is up at 60, which isn't as high as it could be, but it's definitely higher than a lot of characters in the game. And her leadership is also up at 60, so starting off, if you marry her, she can automatically lead a pretty effective war party for you. So she can lead one of your clan parties and help secure your territory or fight with you in a war. She's good at that. Her own personal combat skills are also quite good. We can see 110 for athletics, 130 for one-handed, 100 for polearm, 110 for throwing, 100 for two-handed, 100 for riding, as well as some others. She's very balanced as far as combat goes. You can equip her however you need her to be, and she'll fight pretty effectively in that manner. As far as governing goes, so if you want to put her in charge of a settlement, she's not very good at that. That's the only thing that brings her down in my ranking, because she's really only got her charm going for her, but that's only at 60. So if you put her in charge of a settlement, she'll grow into the role, but she's not going to start off being very good at it. So she's definitely more of a wife that you're looking for if you want a warrior wife, someone to fight with you in your party or to fight leading another army for your clan. But if you do that, she is quite good at it, and she's got good enough armor that she's not likely to just die right away. So yeah, APOLANEA, I think is how you, APOLANEA? It's hard to pronounce her name for me, but she takes the number 5 spot. So next up at number 4, we have YACHANA, who I unfortunately can't talk to here because she's in Varcheg, which is being besieged by a giant army, and I don't want to get involved in any of that nonsense. But you can see it says YACHANA is a member of the Vezhoving, a noble family of the Sturgians. She has the reputation of being kind, but cautious. She's 25 years old, so not very old, but also not as young as a lot of the members, up to 6 years older than many other wives that you could marry. Our starting stats for her don't blow your socks off. 100 for riding is really the only notable combat ability, but her governing ability is pretty good. Definitely good enough to make her worth marrying. So you can see 80 for steward and 61 for trade. Both of those compared together make her a pretty good governor and a solid option for anyone just starting off. On top of that, she's kind and cautious, which is good in a wife, and she's also quite young, so if you want to have a bunch of children, she's a good option for that. So nothing ridiculously over the top with YACHANA, but I find her to be a very consistent and reliable spouse in the game. So that is number 4. 4. Let's move on to number 3.
I'm yours to command.
So, Idrun is our number 3 spot, and as you can see, she's actually my spouse in this game, and I find her to be quite a good option, one that I personally really enjoy, and out of all of the Sturgians I've ever married in my many, many playthroughs, she's probably the one that is the lowest common denominator. So, as far as some stats and stuff about her, it says Idrun is a member of the Iskanoving, that's my clan, so that's not actually her starting clan, a rising new clan, blah blah blah. She has a reputation of being considerate of others. That's a good thing to have a reputation of. Her father Olek, however, is a vassal of Sturgia and the leader of the Kuloving clan, and she's a very solid wife just starting off. She is 21, so plenty young, perfectly suitable to having children. As you can see, she is currently pregnant. Stats of generous and merciful, good stats for a wife and mother. As far as her abilities go, obviously her steward is higher than it would be because she is serving as my steward, so she's been leveling that up the whole time I've been playing on here. But combat, nothing notable but riding, and she does outside of her starting steward, which is somewhere in the 100 ballpark. Starting off, she also starts off with 60 charm and 82 trade. So she makes a very good governor for a settlement. She doesn't have any negative traits. I find her to have a very enjoyable personality that never grates in any way, not condescending or snarky or anything like that, and she's considerate of others. Real solid overall, definitely a great wife for having children. I think my record with Idrun is 9 children, I think, in one of my previous playthroughs, so definitely great at creating a nice big clan. Solid option starting off, and she is number 3. Let's move on to number 2. So at number 2, we of course have a lot of people's favorite for Sturgian spouses, SVANA, and now I know why she's a favorite, because she is quite good, but yeah, she only takes my number 2 spot. So as far as she goes, it says SVANA is a member of the Vagaroving, a noble family of the Sturgians. She has a reputation of being brave and honorable. So quite the brave, honorable soldier here, which is great for a Sturgian playthrough, especially if you're going for that, sort of honorable, brave, fighting, all that sort of jazz. She's 23, so plenty young, perfectly young for having lots and lots of children. As far as her skills, she's definitely got a lot of skills, which is why so many people like her. As far as governing settlements go, you can see that we have 102 for steward, 80 for charm, and 81 for trade. All of those are pretty solid traits, and if you put them all together, she definitely makes an excellent governor. On top of that, you can see we have 100 for leadership and 100 for tactics, so we're going to have an excellent war leader here, so definitely a good general to have. And on top of that, her personal combat skills are all quite good. All of them are over 100. Some of them, like Archer Bow, is up to 150, and two-handed's at up to 180. 180 for the polearm, 180 for the one-handed. So she's a really good warrior is what I'm trying to get across. If you want a wife that is a fantastic warrior in the game, SVANA is a great option for that. And if you're wondering what she's doing in this current playthrough, she's currently leading one of these armies, see SVANA's army, fighting off an Imperial invasion. So that's just a really good precursor, or I guess description of the type of stuff that she likes to be involved in. And yeah, so you run into her in battle, she's going to be wearing big old thick heavy armor, big helmet and all that stuff, but you can of course see her blue eyes underneath. So that is SVANA, takes the number 2 spot. Let's move on to number 1. Alright, and then at our number 1 spot, we're going to be breaking one of my rules to put SIGA at the number 1 spot, because she is 41, so she's quite old. You can have children with her. I believe this was the wife I had that had the oldest children, and in her 40s I think gave me 3, so not terrible. Pretty good, in fact. I've had younger wives in this game that give less than that. But yeah, she is quite old starting off for a wife. So if you want to marry her and have children, you're going to want to start right away when you marry her. So you're going to want to immediately try to get her pregnant and then keep her in your settlement so she can have some kids. But maybe you're playing with, the being born and dying turned off and you don't care about that because having children isn't a thing in the game anyway. In that case, she's a really, really good wife. So starting off, she has some negative stuff, like she's cruel and impulsive and close-fisted, but you got to see past that stuff. For one thing, she's in the Kuloving clan. You can see that Olek is the leader of that, and she is his sister, so that would be how she gets to her status, but she is unmarried, so definitely a interesting aspect there. Not too hard to marry, considering she's older and is just the sister. She's not a daughter, so it's not like she stands to inherit anyway, but so pretty easy to make that arrangement, but her stats are all quite good. So if you can see past the fact that she's 41 and you may not end up having any children with her, she's good at leading a settlement, so she has 61 for steward, which, yeah, sure, isn't as good as a lot of people, and, could be a lot higher, but if you put her in charge of leading a settlement, that will obviously go up. But outside of that, she's really good at leading a war party. So you can see we've got 120 for leadership and 120 for tactics, making her an excellent general. She's going to be able to outmaneuver most of the people in the game, really. There aren't all that many characters in the game that have better stats than that for tactics and leadership. Her personal combat skills are also also all really good. You can see the lowest one for them is what? I was going to say crossbow at 160, yeah, because then you have riding at 190, bow at 205, athletics at 210, throwing at 210, polearm and two-handed both at 250, and one-handed at 280. She's just a really strong warrior. I think she might have the best combat stats out of any marriageable women in the game. So, like I said, only downside is that she's rather old, and so there's a really good chance that even if you try, you won't be able to have kids with her, but her stats are super good. She's a great war party leader, great at leading a settlement, and great as a warrior in your party. I had to put her at number 1, even though she breaks one of my rules for what makes a good wife in this game. If you don't want to marry a 41-year-old woman, I recommend one of the other 4 people that I recommended here. But that's all for today. Those are all of my picks for the Sturgian wives in Mount and Blade Bannerlord. If I missed one that you personally really love, why don't you go ahead and tell me down in the comment section below. And if I said anything about any of these ones that you disagree with, also feel free to correct me. But that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.